What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yo, what's good? This is your boy Tone DeShields the second. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the energy. You know where my mind be. I know where my body be. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, especially if you are new. If this is your first time here, if you're taking a shot on me, I appreciate you. Welcome to the fold. Welcome to the claw. Hopefully you're here for a long time and not just a short time or even a good time. Stick around. The content only gets better. Just so you guys know, the content is always available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can always watch the playback on YouTube. You know, you can check me out on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. The content is everywhere. So make sure you guys continue to tap in. I'm always trying to give you guys my football takes, whether you agree or disagree. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm always going to feel how I feel about it. Maybe you can convince me otherwise. Maybe you can raise an alternate point that may force me to think about it from a different angle. But overall, I tend to feel how I feel about things. And you guys wouldn't be here otherwise. So let's get right to it. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about the topic at hand. So, Jaire Alexander, phenomenal talent. Let's just start there. Jaire Alexander, 7-year pro, entering year 8 of his NFL career. He spent it all with the Green Bay Packers. Jaire Alexander was drafted by the Green Bay Packers in the first round of the 2018 NFL draft. In that 2018 NFL draft, we seen guys like Baker Mayfield, Saquon Barkley, Sam Darnold, Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb, Quentin Nelson, Josh Allen, Roquan Smith, Minka Fitzpatrick, Vita Vea, Deron Payne, Marcus Davenport, Tremaine Edmonds. That was a very, very strong draft class in terms of defense. A very strong draft class in terms of defense, to say the least. And, you know, again, a draft class that had Denzel Ward, Jaire Alexander, Vita Vea, Deron Payne. I mean, Tremaine Edmonds. It's Terrell Edmonds at the time, Lamar Jackson, Calvin Ridley. Nick Chubb, Shaq Leonard. This was a very talented Harold Landry. That 2019 draft class, that 2018 draft class was pretty damn good. Was pretty damn good. Unfortunately, that was the year the Philadelphia Eagles didn't have a first-round pick. Unfortunately. But nonetheless, Jaire Alexander, drafted 18th overall by the Green Bay Packers. And Jaire Alexander has been a very, 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 very good player for the Green Bay Packers. Let's put that on the board right now before we get into the details of the conversation. Jaire Alexander is one of the best talents at the cornerback position in the NFL. He's one of the best. That's a fact. Two-time Pro Bowler, two-time second-team All-Pro. That happened in 2020 and 2022, respectively. Plays the game with unwavering swagger, unwavering confidence. The dude fears no man. He talks trash and he backs it up for the most part. And on top of that, he not only does he get the trash talk out the way, he matches up with anybody pretty well. He fears no man. He don't care how big, how fast. He matches up with you. And he doesn't get penalized like that. He doesn't get penalized. He's very disciplined. He's like last season in particular, 2024, he only was penalized twice. Penalized twice only. In 2023, he was only penalized once. In 2022, only penalized 3 times. He doesn't get penalties. Let me put it in perspective for you guys. Let me put it in perspective. Jaire Alexander, for his entire career, has only been penalized 13 times. He only has 13 accepted penalties against him for his entire career. He's been in the league for 7 years. Jaire Alexander only has 13 accepted penalties against him. Just to put it in perspective, rookie corner Terrion Arnold, drafted in the first round by the Detroit Lions. The same guy that was drafted with Quinyon Mitchell. A lot of people try to say Terrion Arnold may be better than Quinyon in that draft. Remember Terrion Arnold? Terrion Arnold has 11 accepted penalties against him in one season of football. Jaire Alexander has 13 accepted penalties over the 7 years of his career. Let's really put it in perspective. That's how good he is. You see, a lot of you guys probably thought I was going to get on here and start talking trash. But I'm going to keep it G. I'm going to speak on his greatness, and we're also going to address the elephant in the room. But Jaire Alexander, one of the most disciplined corners in football. That's a fact. That's not opinion. By the way, just so you guys know, if you're wondering, Quinyon Mitchell only has 2 accepted penalties against him in his career. He only has 2. And Cooper DeJean, as well, only has 2 accepted penalties against them compared to Terrion Arnold, the person that went to Alabama, the person that went to a team in the SEC, a program in the SEC. A lot of people thought he was going to be better than Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and so on and so forth, but I digress. Jaire Alexander is a very talented corner, one of the best in football. There was a point where he was one of the highest paid before being released by the Packers. He was making an average salary of $21 million per year, 5th amongst starting corners. Again, that was before he was released. And I'm not sure if the release has officially taken effect. Let me double check that. But I know the Green Bay Packers are prepping to release him. So, yes, they are releasing him. It's happening. All right. All right. So now we look at this brother and we say to ourselves, okay, why would they release a guy like him? Why would they release a guy like Jaire Alexander if he's as talented as we say he is? We know him to be. Again, two-time Pro Bowl, two-time All-Pro, veteran experience, been a starter pretty much his whole career. Knows he's forgotten more football than I ever would know. Doesn't get penalized, a disciplined football player. He doesn't have all these fines attached to him. He's only been suspended for one game in his entire career. Just thinking about his career stats, 78 games played, 12 interceptions, 70 pass deflections, 287 total tackles, 241 solo tackles on the career. Has a career 57.8 completion percentage when targeted. Has allowed 19 touchdowns over his career. What else? Has given up an 83.4 passer rating when targeted. He's talented. He's good. He's good. But why would the Packers move on from him? Why are they deciding to cut him? They were trying to trade him, by the way, but things didn't work out. And I think teams knew they were going to release him regardless. Matter of fact, let me put you this way. As talented as he is, as effective as he's been, why don't I want him? You see, I spoke a lot about him positively, and I meant every word I said, but I don't want him. I don't want Jaire Alexander in Philadelphia. I'm cool off Jaire, despite all the talent that I brought about, that I spoke about with you guys. I'm cool. I'm cool. This ain't got nothing to do with the personality. This ain't got nothing to do with the skill set. We're just going to talk about facts. Facts over feelings. He can't stay healthy. That's not my opinion. That's not conjecture. That's not hearsay. That's what the dotted line says. He can't stay healthy. And frankly, I don't know what his off-season regimen is. I don't know what he does nutrition-wise. I don't know anything about his process in prepping for a season or prepping for it. I have no idea what his process is. I won't pretend to know. And I know you can't really predict or legislate injuries. I understand that. But and obviously the player doesn't want to be hurt. He doesn't want to be hurt. He wants to play football. He doesn't want to miss games. But whatever his process is in the offseason, hey, something ain't working. Something not working. I'm just saying. Whatever his process is, however he's trying to stay healthy, if he's doing acupuncture or the massages or whatever they do to put the suction cups on your body to break up the muscle tissue. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an athletic trainer. I ain't none of that. But whatever is going on, whatever's been going on the past 4 years when it comes to Jaire Alexander, it ain't working. It ain't working. I'm not saying he don't work hard. I'm not saying he not doing everything possible to stay healthy. But whatever it is, it ain't working. Because since 2021, Jaire Alexander has played in 34 football games out of a possible 68 total football games since 2021. We're talking 4 seasons worth of football. 2021 was the first season the league played 17 games. 2021 was the introduction to the 17-game season. So 4 seasons worth of football we're talking about. 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. That's 68 games. 17 times 4, 68. He's played in 34 games out of a possible 68 total games since 2021. He's missed 34 games. He's missed 50% of his games over the past 2 seasons. If you want to extrapolate that, if you want to consolidate that rather, he's literally missed 2 seasons of football. 2 seasons of football. 2. He missed 2 seasons of football. That's not over 40%. He's missed 50% of his games in the regular season. "68 games over a 4-year span. He played in 34. He missed 34. That's 50%. That's not over. That's not under. That's 50% on the nose. That's not my opinion. This ain't got nothing to do with the talent. 34 games played, 34 games missed. He's literally there half the time. He's literally there half the time. Listen, over the past 2 seasons, in particular, over the past 2 seasons, the Green Bay Packers have gotten pretty used to playing without him. Remind you, he signed that new contract that took effect in 2022. He signed that extension in 2022. He really hasn't lived up to the extension. I mean, he gave them that All-Pro Pro Bowl year in 2022, but since then hasn't been healthy. He played in 7 games in 2023, played in 7 games in 2024. He missed 20 games over the past 2 seasons. 20 games. He is a talented player. Jaire Alexander, he makes plays on the football. He has the right confidence you want at the position. He's quick. This ain't got nothing to do with this brother's talent. I promise you that. He can't stay healthy. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, why would I invest in that? Why would I, if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles? And again, there's a strong chance the Eagles may not even look his way. I think some of you guys said he may go to Buffalo. I think some of you guys said he may go to Buffalo. Maybe who else needs a corner? Maybe Washington. Maybe Detroit. I know Detroit, didn't they just extend Kirby Joseph? Didn't Detroit just extend Kirby Joseph? Yeah. Detroit just gave Kirby Joseph 4 years, $86 million. They got that young corner, Terrion Arnold, over there. And I think they just let me see something. Kirby Joseph is a safety. You know, they just gave him a lot of money. Terrion Arnold, they got him as he's a rookie right now. They also don't they got somebody else over there too that's pretty good. Don't they got somebody else over there that's pretty good? Let me see. Where is he at? What's my man name? DJ Reed. DJ Reed. That's who it is. DJ Reed. They got a guy over there, DJ Reed. He's good. How old is DJ Reed? DJ Reed. I think Detroit just signed him, right? So I don't know if the Lions make a play for Jaire Alexander. They just brought in DJ Reed. They extended Kirby Joseph. They got a young Terran Arnold over there that they're still trying to develop. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they make a play for Jaire Alexander right now. And look, the Eagles may not have been thinking about it. Eagles may not have been thinking about it. I just don't see it. You know, he's 28 years old, entering his 8th season. He's been injury prone 3 of the last 4 years. Over the past 4 seasons, he's missed 34 games out of a total 68, which consolidates into 2 seasons of football. Let me look at his injury history. Let me just look at his injury history. I need to see. I need to see his injury history. So let's bring this up on screen. Let's really break this down, injury by injury. All right. Make sure you guys smash that like button. You guys are tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. We're going to get to your super chats. We're going to get to your comments in a little bit, okay? Don't be stingy. Let's have some fun, y'all. All right, so, all right. Jaire Alexander's injury history. I love the internet, man. I love the internet. You can find anything. Let's work our way backwards. September 25th. Missed 2 games due to a groin injury. And they clearly don't have all of it on here because he missed 10 games last year. They clearly don't have all of it on here. But anyway, groin injury. 2023, shoulder injury. Missed 6 games. 2022, groin. 2021, shoulder. 13 games missed. I mean, concussion, thumb, groin, hand, knee. Yo, that groin is screaming murder. That groin is screaming murder, she wrote, murder. That groin holding on for dear life. We got to be honest about this. I know he's 28, but dang. Cedric Revel says, so we cool with AJ Dillon, but not Jaire. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, buddy. I'm glad you said that. It's no comparison. No comparison. So, AJ Dillon came into the NFL in 2020. Jaire came in 2018. So he got a few years on. He got a few years on him. Nonetheless, in 2020, now, by the way, AJ Dillon missed his entire 2024 season. That's a fact. AJ Dillon missed his entire 2024 season with the neck stinger. That's on record. I'm not arguing against that. He missed it. But when you compare, thank you, S. Blunt. I'm glad somebody thinking with their cranium right now. When you compare the amount of games missed, the positional value in the, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? AJ Dillon played in 15 games in 2023, 17 games in 2022, 17 games in 2021, and he played in 11 games in 2020. Who are you talking about? This is John. What are you talking about? You're talking about something. Hey, Cedric, what year did this happen? 2020? Let me look it up since Cedric want to act dense. Let me look it up real quick. Let's see. I'll humor him. Let's pull this up. AJ Dillon injury history. Let's pull it up. I'll humor him. I'll humor him. All right. All right, here we go. I'll humor him. See, this is what happens when you think you know what you're talking about, but you get checked on live. Let's have some fun with it, though. AJ Dillon, injury history. A stinger in his neck, missed the whole season in 2024. Got it, okay? He had a stinger in 2023 in December, missed one game. He had a hand thumb fracture in 2023, missed one game. And by the way, you guys, because of a 17-game season, if a guy misses a game or two a season, I'm not really tripping, personally. I always get iffy when I see a guy miss 4 games or more. That's my cutoff. If a guy is missing 4 games or more a season, I'm looking at you funny. All right, so anyway, he missed one game he missed one game in 2023 with the neck stinger. He missed another game with a hand thumb fracture. Okay, 2022, chest rib fracture. January 16th, 2021, leg quad strain. Doesn't say he missed games though. September 29th, 2018, missed 2 games right here. But what do you guys see here that stands out? What stands out right here? What stands out right here? What are you guys seeing right here that stands out? Just out of curiosity, what stands out right here? College. We talking NFL. Things happen in college. I don't care about what happened in college, personally. I don't care. I don't care about college. I care about what's going on in the league. So, back to Jaire Alexander, because AJ Dillon played in all 17 games in 2021, played in all 17 games in 2022, played in 15 games in 2023. He missed the whole 2024 season. That's the biggest smudge on his resume. Missing that 2024 season with the stinger, which is very unpredictable, by the way. Very unpredictable. Who knows if it comes back, actually. And the value of the contract is very different. And you're not asking A.J. Dillon to be your starting running back. You're asking A.J. Dillon to be a backup, like he's been his entire career. Now, like as Blunt just said, you get Jaire Alexander for A.J. Dillon money, hey, I'll gamble. I'll roll the dice. You see, my thing about the Jaire Alexander conversation is that it's not just about the injuries, but the injuries, it goes hand in hand with what does a Jaire Alexander contract look like in 2025? What does a Jaire Alexander contract look like in 2025? Because when you look at it, when you think about it from a distance, you say, okay, the talent. I get the talent. I understand why people want him, Cedric. I get it. I get the talent. I totally understand it. And if the Eagles signed him to a 1 year, all right, let me put you this way. You guys. Even though I don't want Jaire Alexander, if the Eagles ultimately decided to bring him in, I would root for him because I want him to be successful. His success is the Eagles' success. So, I don't want people to get me misconstrued here, but although I'm against bringing him in for the reasons of injury and his injury history, if the Eagles decided to gamble on him and they were able to bring him in for a 1 year deal, hypothetically speaking, if they were able to bring him in for a 1 year deal, I would be like, okay, let's see what happens. I would support him. I would root for him because I know what the ceiling is. I know how good he can be. But if he's looking for like a 3 year, 4 year, whatever he's looking for, if he's looking for a real commitment from a team, like 3 years, 4 years, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then we got to see how healthy he is. You know what I'm saying? He didn't play in the playoffs this year. I just don't like gambling on that kind of stock. If Jaire Alexander was a stock and 3 out of the 4 years that stock bottomed out, would you continue to bet on it? Would you continue to invest in that stock? That's why when I look at the Green Bay Packers and what they did, I'm not against what they did because they've gotten so used to playing without him. They got that kid Valentine over there who's pretty good. Who else they got over there? They got Kayshawn Nixon over there. I think he plays in the slot. Who else they got over there? I can't remember, but yeah, Carrington Valentine. That's his name. Carrington Valentine. He's good. He's up and coming. But it gets to a point where you got to start asking yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the juice worth the squeeze? I have nothing against Jaire Alexander, but when I look at the talent, I say, makes sense. When I look at the injury history, I say, it doesn't make too much sense. 34 games played, 34 games missed over the past 2 seasons. That's something that would make me highly uncomfortable if I'm spending money on it. And you're expecting him to be a starting corner for you. I don't know. Cedric Revel says Nixon is the guy that got crushed in the opening kickoff, right? Yeah, it is. That is. That is him. That is definitely him. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I really do appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I don't question this brother's talent at all. Let me look at some of your comments, though, man. Let me look at the live chat. Tiffany says, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. Big Dog says, I got a feeling he's gonna come here and have like 8 picks on the year and stay healthy, and we're not gonna be able to afford him next season. And again, that's assuming that he gets a 1-year deal. Or see, I think Jaire Alexander, he's looking for something around a 3-year deal, maybe. Somebody's going to pay him. That's the thing. Somebody's going to pay him. Because I think for him, it's going to come down to years and guaranteed dollars. He's going to go to whoever gives him the best years and the most guaranteed dollars. This is the point in Jaire Alexander's career where he becomes a hired gun. He's at that point now. I feel like every player gets to that point in their career where they become a hired gun. And I think that's where Jaire Alexander is. Remember, Stephon Gilmore, there was a point in Stephon Gilmore's career where he just became a hired gun. Stephon Gilmore spent 5 years in Buffalo, 4 years in New England, and then his last 4 seasons, he's been in a different area code. Stephon Gilmore's last 4 seasons, Minnesota, Dallas, Indianapolis, Carolina. And he made the Pro Bowl with Carolina, by the way. You know, Stephon Gilmore, 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl champ. Been in the league for 13 years. This is the point in Jaire Alexander's career where he becomes a hired gun. And also, by the way, don't expect a team to jump out there for him right away. This is going to breathe for a while. Same thing with Justin Simmons, all these guys. Who else? Who else is on the market right now? We were just talking about him recently. Justin Simmons is on the market. Von Miller is on the market. Let me look at the free agent market right now, because this is the point in the year where teams aren't going to just jump the gun when it comes to signing a guy. They're going to get through OTAs. They're going to go through training camp and see what they have, and then they're going to make a determination. Sweet Chin Music with the $10 super chat. Sweet Chin, thank you, man. I really do appreciate the love, like always, bro. He says, I'm good on Jaire Alexander. He missed half the season the past 2 seasons, and he would be just another 1-year patch job. Would rather let Ringo get his shot to fail. S. Blunt says there's still a month until training camps open, so I would expect his agent to give him the best deal. Exactly, like, you know, but also to your point, S. Blunt, right? Like, I mean, when you say you expect his agent to give him the best deal, are you saying that you think his agent is going to try to get him signed before training camp? Because I think, and Ramsey's on a trade block. Thank you, Keon Block. But S. Blunt, are you saying that you expect his agent to try to get him signed before training camp? Is that what you're saying? Because I would say teams want to find out what they have. And also, I would argue he's waiting for an opportunity to get more leverage. Like, don't get me wrong, S. Blunt. I think the conversations are happening. I think he is having conversations. Don't get it twisted. I definitely think conversations are being had. But I also think teams are looking at it from the perspective of, or I think his representation along with him, I think they're looking at it from the perspective of, okay, you're coming off of back-to-back seasons with injuries. As of right now, your selling power is not that high. As of right now, we're in a buyer's market. We're not in the seller's market right now. So maybe we can wait until an injury happens in training camp or whatever it may be. Then he can get some more leverage. Because I think even Buffalo right now, Buffalo isn't in a bad spot with their corners right now. Buffalo has Christian Benford. Let me see something real quick. Buffalo isn't in a terrible spot with their corners. I don't think so. Let me double check this. They got Christian Benford, who's good. Maxwell Hairston. Okay. All right. Young player. Maxwell Hairston is a rookie. So they got Teron Johnson at nickel. They did lose Micah Hyde. Micah Hyde did retire. But they got Christian Benford, who's good. They just drafted Maxwell Hairston, one of the top corners from this draft. I don't know. They still got Tre'Davious White on this roster. I just think there's a chance that he wants to try to get as much leverage as possible. I think at this point in his career, he's a hired gun. He's going to the highest bidder. He's going to the team that'll give him the best deal, the most guaranteed dollars, the best years. That's what I think. That's honestly what I think when it comes to Jaire Alexander. But I think S. Blunt looked up told me about an article about teams that may be looking at him. So here are the teams. Okay, let's bring this on screen here. Let's bring this on screen. Let's read into this. So this is PFF's article. PFF wrote an article basically saying pack 6 potential landing spots for Jaire Alexander. Let's just see what we got here. So they got the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, let's find out what we're talking about here. They say here, we have to throw this one on here because, well, it's the Eagles. Part of their run to the Super Bowl last year was capitalizing on players like this becoming available and forming the best team in the league. Alexander was also born in Philadelphia, though he grew up mostly in North Carolina. The Eagles have Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean in their secondary, 2 players who were excellent as rookie starters in 2024. But they did lose Slay as well as Isaiah Rodgers from their Super Bowl secondary. Perhaps Alexander would take a big discount to be the veteran in the room for a team looking for another title. I don't think he takes a discount. That's that. And again, I think the Eagles are really, really gambling on Kelee Ringo right now. I think the Eagles are really gambling, really betting on Kelee Ringo right now. I don't think they're gung-ho to go get a guy like Jaire Alexander right now. Same thing with Jalen Ramsey. I don't think they're gung-ho about that. I think they at least want to see what Kelee Ringo does in training camp and in the preseason games, and then they'll say, all right, we need to revisit this position, at least for the Eagles' sake. I think that's where they are right now. They're going to go through training camp, maybe see him in the preseason game or two, and then they'll decide, okay, we got to make a move. At the very least, I think that's what they're thinking about for the Eagles in particular. Let's get to the Rams. Okay. All right. I can see this. The Rams definitely trying to get better in the secondary. I can see this. Says here, the Rams surprisingly didn't make any changes at cornerback this offseason. Darius Williams, Kobe Durant, and Ahkello Witherspoon played the most snaps at cornerback for the team last season, but none earned a PFF coverage grade above 62. Alexander is the kind of veteran whom Los Angeles has been interested in before. The team traded for fellow star cornerback Jalen Ramsey in 2019, which proved a worthwhile addition. A move for Alexander wouldn't be as big of a splash, but it would be in the Rams' wheelhouse. Okay, I can see that. Not bad. The Minnesota Vikings. Okay. This would be a top-tier storyline. Alexander and Vikings superstar receiver Justin Jefferson have been fierce competitors for years, taking the Packers and Vikings divisional rivalry to the next level. Alexander has called one of Jefferson's biggest performances, 9 catches for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Packers, a fluke, and has mocked Jefferson's signature greedy celebration. Alexander would also fit into defensive coordinator Brian Flores' aggressive approach with his 99th percentile PFF coverage grade since 2022. In all of his ball production, 8 interceptions and 21 pass breakups despite missed time. The Vikings are trying to replace Cameron Bynum, Shaquille Griffin, and Stephon Gilmore from last year's secondary, making Alexander a clear potential fit. Okay. The Baltimore Ravens. It says, this is another example of a team going all in if the signing were to happen. The Ravens lost Brandon Stephens from last year's secondary, but still have Marlon Humphrey to play inside and out, as well as second-year cornerback Nate Wiggins, who could be in for a big season after earning a 69.0 PFF coverage grade as a rookie with 11 forced incompletions. Baltimore signed Chidobe Awuzue to a one-year deal this offseason, but Alexander would be an upgrade over Awuzue's 62.4 and 58.3 PFF coverage grades over the past 2 seasons. Interesting. Carolina Panthers. Says here, this one feels a bit out of left field, but stick with us. The Panthers secondary under defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero last season was fairly aggressive, playing single high coverage 66.4% of the time. They used cover 3 more than cover 1, running the zone scheme on 38.7% of the snaps compared to 16.9% in 2023. Alexander's 98th percentile PFF coverage grade over the past 3 years in single coverage situations is evidence of his impact from a single high alignment as a cornerback who can succeed in both man and zone situations when there is only one safety deep. Making this move would depend on where the Panthers believe they are in their competing window, but they would surely be interested at the right price. It would also be somewhat of a homecoming for Alexander, who played football at Rocky River High School just outside of the Charlotte area. The Las Vegas Raiders. Now that Pete Carroll is the head coach in Las Vegas, don't count the Raiders out of the Alexander sweepstakes. Carroll knows how to build an elite secondary, as evidenced by the Legion of Boom during his time in Seattle. He is also known as a player's coach and someone who can handle big personality players. Despite playing in a tough division, we know the Raiders are in on competing now since they traded for quarterback Geno Smith. Excuse me. Their secondary could use some help too, after Jacorian Bennett was the 2024 cornerback group's highest graded player in coverage at just 61.0. The team's 30.4 PFF coverage grade was also by far the worst mark in the NFL in 2024. Las Vegas brought in Eric Stokes in free agency and drafted Darian Porter, but Alexander would be an immediate proven starter for the Raiders. I did not know Green Bay moved on from Eric Stokes. And Green Bay was talking all that trash about how good Eric Stokes is. They didn't even resign him. So basically, the Green Bay Packers moved on from 2 high-profile players. They moved on from Eric Stokes, who they drafted when? In the first round? When was Eric Stokes drafted? Eric Stokes was drafted in the first round. Green Bay said, nah, we're good. We're good. Missed too many games in 2022 and 2023. Was inconsistent in 2024. They said, nah, we're good. And they moved on from Jaire Alexander. Fascinating. Isn't it funny that when we were arguing with Green Bay Packers fans, the 2 players that they kept bringing up, Jaire Alexander, Eric Stokes, now they're looking for a job. Well, Eric Stokes just got signed by the Raiders, but you know what I mean. They were looking for a job. Isn't that funny? Just saying. Just saying. Hey, yo, by the way, Did y'all know Eric Stokes got no burn in the playoffs this past year in 2024? He got no burn. Why am I talking about Eric Stokes right now? Why am I talking about Eric Stokes? This ain't got nothing to do with him. He catching strays. Eric Stokes catching strays, man. Let me leave Eric Stokes alone, bro. Let me leave him alone. Eric Stokes ain't do nothing to me, man. All right, let's see where we at here. All right, so that's it. That's it. So they got the Raiders, they got the Panthers, they got the Ravens, they got the Vikings, they got the Rams, and they got the Eagles as potential landing spots. As potential landing spots for Jaire Alexander. Talented player. Talented. Without a doubt. Can run with the best of them. But can't stay healthy. And he's missed too many games for me to even, again, it all depends on the money. It depends on the contract, depends on what he's looking for. If the Eagles can bring him in on a 1-year deal, all right, cool, bet. Other than that, I'm cool. Let's get to the super chats. Like my man Sweet Chin Music said, let me fix this. Like my man Sweet Chin Music said, he says, I'm good on Alexander. Missed half the season, the past 2 seasons, and he would be just another 1-year patch job. Would rather let Ringo get his shot in the fall or get his shot to fail. Yeah, man. I think the Eagles are betting on Kelee Ringo. I don't think the Eagles are eager to make any splash move right now. Alex with the super chat. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. He says Howie has made moves late into August in recent years. I think that'll be the case again if they're not sold on Ringo or Adore. Exactly. That and guess what? If that happened, I'll be cool with it. If that was to happen, I'll be totally okay. I'll be totally okay with that. Because I understand that the Eagles are in win now mode. They're always competing. The Eagles do not rest on their laurels. Every single year, they're trying to be dominant. Every single year, the Eagles are trying to win it all. That's why I love the Eagles. That's why I love them. We got people in the building that care about the product. You don't win 2 Super Bowls in the past 7 years, in the past 8 years, by being complacent. And trust me, if the Eagles want Jaire Alexander, they'll get him. But it's going to be for the right price, and it's going to be on their terms. It's just that simple. It's going to be for the right price, and it's going to be on their terms. And Jaire Alexander's coming off of making $21 million a year. $21 million. The Eagles are not paying him anywhere close to that. You know what I mean? 2 Super Bowls in 7 years. The Eagles not playing. That's why sometimes I be wanting people to kind of, pump the brakes a little bit when they see players get available. Because trust me, the Eagles are not going to rest on their laurels. The Eagles are the type of team that's going to make the move they feel like will push them to the next level. Like there's no reason to be gung-ho about Jaire Alexander if you're an Eagles fan. Not yet, at least. Let training camp come. Let one preseason game happen. Then we'll be able to have a real conversation about it. There's no reason for us to be totally over eager to make a play for Jaire Alexander. And again, I want to make sure my position is very clearly stated. I'm not questioning this brother's talent. I'm not questioning the skill set. I'm not questioning the ability. I'm questioning the availability. I'm questioning his ability to show up for games, to be healthy. When you miss 34 games over the past 4 seasons combined, which basically consolidates into 2 full seasons of football. What are we talking about? And to take it a step further, let's do some math real quick. 68 games, 34 games missed, 34 games played. $34 divided by 4 is 8.5. He's averaging over 8 games missed a season. Jaire Alexander, that is. He's averaging over 8 games missed per season. Is that a stock you want to bet on? Not me, not right now. I would buy low. I would buy low, but I'm not jumping at the opportunity to invest in this stock. I'm not. I'll buy low when the shares are, when it's $1 a share or something like that. When it's $5 a share, $20, I'll buy low. I'll buy low. Thank you for the super chat, Alex. If you guys want to donate with super chats, you guys are free to do so. I appreciate all of that, man. The super chats help the channel grow. You're investing in me. I really do appreciate it. AJ Jones with the super chat. Thank you, AJ. He says, the day I pull a double shift, you go live. I'm late, but it's Kelee time to ball. But if Howie signs Jaire Alexander, it should be a 1-year deal with playtime incentives. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. A 1-year deal, throw some incentives in there. And only if you're not sold on Ringo, Howie, that is. If Howie's not sold on Ringo, then you make the move. Other than that, roll the dice. And AJ, I don't mean to do this while you're working, man. But at least I'm keeping you busy, right? At least I'm helping you fill the time, man. My man Warv with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Warv. I appreciate you, big dog. He says, I think we should get Jaire Alexander his number. Okay, he says, I think we should get Jaire Alexander. His number shouldn't be much. He doesn't have much leverage. 1-year prove-it deal on a contender should make sense for him. Like I said, man, he's in his mercenary era. Jaire Alexander is in his hired gun era. And you're right, he doesn't have leverage. The only way he can get more leverage, in my humble opinion, is if there's a big injury that occurs in training camp. You know what I'm saying? Like a serious injury has to occur on one of these organizations and one of these teams for him to get leverage. Like there's a reason Justin Simmons is waiting until training camp and preseason. That's what happened last time with him. He waited, and then he got the most money he can get. He could have got rather. Thank you for the super chat, Worf. Sweet Chin says something interesting here. And I think he's making 2 separate points, but let's read it real quick. Sweet Chin Music says, I don't think Jaire Alexander is going to be one of these journeymen scrambling for a job. He's not going to want to come here and sit on the bench and play mentor when he can start other places. Okay, I think that's 2 separate points, right? Let's address it, though. So for your first point, I don't think Jaire Alexander is going to be one of these journeymen scrambling for a job. I'm not saying he's going to be, well, I don't know if you're talking directly to me, but to answer that directly, I don't think he's going to be someone scrambling for a job because of his skill set, because of how talented he is. He's always going to be somebody that can find a job. But I think because of the injury history, he isn't going to be okay. Cool, got you, Sweet Chin. But I still want to address it though, because I think you raised an interesting point. I still want to address it though. You still raised interesting talking points here that I think we can pull some content out of. You know, Jaire Alexander, he likely won't be somebody scrambling for a job because he's talented. Because he's so good, there's always going to be a team that bets on him. You see, it'd be different if he looked washed. That'd be a different conversation. If he looked washed, then I think he'll be scrambling for a job. But when he's healthy, he is on. When he's healthy, he's ready to go. But when he's not healthy, obviously, you know. So I don't think he'll ever scramble for a job because he's talented and he's good at what he does. But I do believe because of his injury history, teams aren't going to want to invest long-term years into him. That's why I think he's in his mercenary era. Even if a team does offer him 2 years or 3 years, they're probably going to guarantee the first year. And then if they feel like it, or if they feel like they want to go in a different direction, they'll cut him. You know what I mean? So, that's that part of it. But I do personally think he's entering his mercenary era. And it's not because he's not good. So that's that part. Then he says he's not going to want to come here and sit on the bench and play mentor when he can start other places. I agree with that 100%. Like when I hear people say, "Oh yeah, he can come here and he can mentor Quinn," I ain't gonna lie. The word mentor kind of irritates me in sports talk. It kind of irritates me in sports talk. I don't know about you guys, but that word mentor in sports talk kind of annoys me because people think these athletes who are trying to play football, making millions of dollars, they think they're trying to go into a building trying to mentor somebody. Especially guys that play competitive positions like corner or receiver, right? Like leave that mentor talk to the offensive lineman. That mentor talk is exclusively for the offensive lineman. There's not a single quarterback that wants to mentor a young dude that's taking his job. Unless you know your own, for example, Darius Slay was a different thing though. Darius Slay has a different conversation because Darius Slay knew his years were numbered. Darius Slay spoke. It's different. It's different. It's different. Context matters. It's different. Darius Slay was 33, 34 years old. Darius Slay knew that this would likely be his last year in football. Last year in Philadelphia. He already was speaking openly about retiring. There aren't many Slays in this league. There aren't many Slays in this league. There aren't many of them. And then James Bradbury, that's another different conversation because he wasn't even getting on the field regardless. Like that mentor stuff, leave that for the OGs that's bet the ride off into the sunset. Don't talk to me about a 28-year-old young man trying to mentor somebody. So Sweet Chin Music, I agree with him 100%. Like, and Ringo has played with Slay, played with Bradbury, played with Avonte Maddox. He's played with Isaiah Rodgers, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. He got Adoree Jackson on the team right now. Kelee Ringo don't need no more mentorship. He needs reps. Like Vic Fangio said, all he needs is reps. We got to get him the reps. That's all he needs. You can't look at somebody with Kelee Ringo's raw physical gifts, the physical profile, the height, the length, the speed, the strength, the physicality he plays with, the tackling ability. Vic Fangio said all he needs is reps. All he needs is reps. All he needs is reps. When Vic Fangio said that, they gave me a lot of confidence. Because he didn't say, yeah, he still has a long way to go. He didn't say none of that. He didn't say, because Vic Fangio, his speak was on his mind. Vic didn't say, he's still doing this. He's still working out the kinks to his game. He's still trying to, we're still trying to figure it out. He said all he needs is reps. He said that with confidence. Ken James, our resident Green Bay fan, he says, "Ayo, Jaire, the Rams, Buffalo, the Broncos, or the Ravens would be a good spot for you. Pick one." Yo, why Big Dog keeps saying he was sipping on that yak before that? It was it was water. And he drank it before the question was asked. S. Blunt says, "I don't think Jaire Alexander as a press corner is the best fit for Fangio's system." That's a good point too. Jaire, he like to get in your grill. Chris H says, "I thought Ringo didn't have the skill. Then Fangio said he needs reps. I have to admit I was wrong then." The biggest thing about Ringo was he just has to refine his technique a little bit, which only gets better with reps. You know what I mean? He didn't really get the most reps. Let me pull this up real quick. Hold on. Let me look up Kelee Ringo's snap count, because he really didn't get that many snaps. So you guys peep this. Kelee Ringo didn't play much. Check this out. I'm about to show you guys Kelee Ringo's snap count. Look at this. Kelee Ringo hasn't played much. He hasn't really gotten too many opportunities. In back-to-back seasons, he's played under 200 snaps on defense. You know what I mean? So I think Fangio, and then look, in 2024, remember, Fangio inherited Isaiah Rodgers. He inherited Darius Slay, right? So already right there, there were guys that were just ahead of Ringo. And he was the backup. He was the fourth corner, like Zay said, he was the fourth corner on the depth chart, which means he was the backup to Slay and Quinyon, just like Rodgers was. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he was like the fifth or sixth corner in the rotation. Ringo was the fourth corner behind Isaiah Rodgers. You know what I mean? And a lot of people feel like he came out of college early. A lot of people feel like that. He came out maybe a year or two early. So let's try to give Ringo a shot a little bit. And he's entering year 3, another year wiser. I feel good about Ringo until otherwise. Let me get to this super chat. My man, Relative Time Works. Thank you for the super chat, Time Works. He says, "Bring in Jaire Alexander if he can play center field. Baseball won't take the same toll on him as football has." No, I know what you mean though. Time Works. That's that's funny. I just think I think Jaire Alexander, he's talented. I think he's really great at what he does. But that health, man, spooky. Very spooky, man. Thank you for the super chat, you guys. You guys are doing great, man. I really do appreciate it. Also, by the way, you guys, you guys are doing great with hitting that like button. I really do appreciate it. We got over 160 people on the live stream. We got 79 likes. So you guys have been really great. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. If you guys are just coming into the live stream, if you guys are just popping in on the show, we've been discussing the Jaire Alexander sweepstakes. And although Jaire Alexander is an extremely talented player, I'm against the Eagles making a play for Jaire Alexander right now. Right now, I'm against it. I don't think the Eagles need to make a move for Jaire Alexander at this present moment, for the simple fact that he's battled a lot of injuries over the past few seasons, or the past handful of seasons, and that doesn't make me comfortable. I don't feel good about that. And on top of that, I think the Eagles are really trying to find out if Ringo has taken the next step. Now, if we get to training camp and the preseason and Ringo is just getting cooked, then okay, the Eagles maybe make a play for him if he's still available. But even if they do make a play for him, I'm only entertaining a one-year deal. I'm only entertaining a one-year deal. And if I give him more than that, only guarantee the first year. Simple as that. But ultimately, I'm against bringing in Jaire Alexander at this present moment. I'm against it. And it's not because of his talent. It's not because of his talent. Let's look at this poll. We have 157 votes. 157 votes. And you guys are pretty split on this. You guys are pretty split. 55% of you say bring in Jaire Alexander. 45% of you say, nah, he can't stay healthy. And by the way, my man S. Blunt brought up a very good point here. We got 154 votes, but we only got 88 likes. Something not adding up. Something not adding up. Y'all come in here and y'all vote, but y'all don't hit the like button. What's up? What's really good? What's going on, man? S. Blunt, call him out, man. Point him out, big dog. Point him out. Point him out, man. Point him out. There we go. Now the lights starting to roll in. Okay. All right. Okay. We got 161 votes, 97 likes. Come on, man. Point them out, y'all. Let me get to the super chat here by my man Furman Figueroa. Thank you for the super chat, Furman. He says, Tone, seriously though, why is there no faith in Ringo? What is it with him? Is he's a freak athlete with all the potential in the world? What do you think? Here's what I think. Here's my honest opinion. Here's my honest opinion. Here's my honest opinion about this situation. Because Furman, I've been asking the same question, but here's my honest opinion, brother. I think because people saw how spectacular Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean were, I think people have a high standard now, have a high expectation. That's what I think. I think Ringo is suffering from Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean's success. A lot of people feel like, hold on. And also on top of that, I think the fact that Vic Fangio elected to go with Isaiah Rodgers over him in a lot of situations made some people uncomfortable or skittish about Kelee Ringo. That's what I think. And Texan Eagle brings up a very, very good point that I want to tap into here. Let me put a star next to this because I don't want to lose this. Texan Eagle brought up a very good point that I'm going to bring up in a minute. But I think that's what it is. I think the Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean success has made people look at Kelee Ringo a little funny in the light. When Quinyon Mitchell was a first-round pick, Cooper DeJean was a second-round pick. Kelee Ringo was a fourth-rounder. Like, you know, he was a fourth rounder for a reason. Even though people thought he had first round potential, He ultimately was drafted in the 4th round. Quinyon was drafted in the 1st. Cooper was drafted in the 2nd. I mean, the draft stock should tell you a lot there as well. But I also don't think it helped his case when Isaiah Rodgers was getting more snaps than him. Whenever Slay would go down, or even when Quinyon would go down, Isaiah Rodgers would get more burn than him. I think that's the situation as well. And I think it has something to do with what Texan Eagle brought up as well. Thank you for the super chat, Furman. Texan Eagle says something very interesting. He says Ringo wasn't better than Quinyon and Slay before the other. He says Ringo wasn't better than Quinyon and Slay. That's a fact, right? That's just a fact. He said before the other coaches wouldn't play the young guys, and that's true. We talked about it all the time. We said, yo, the young guys got to get more burn. Listen, when we drafted, they didn't play Nolan Smith. Remember that? In 2023, they barely played Nolan Smith. They barely played Ringo, knowing darn well they needed a change at corner. They wasn't playing the young guys. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see something. All right. Texan Eagle also says that's why everyone thought Nolan and Nakobe was trash because they wouldn't play him. Yeah, Nakobe didn't get no. See, Nakobe's situation was a little bit different, but Nakobe, they tried to play him in 2023. He just couldn't stay healthy. 2022, he was behind TJ Edwards and Kaiser White, so that made sense. 2024 was the first year where he really was healthy and also had a clear runway. So his Nakobe situation is a little different. But Nolan didn't play him. I don't know why. Rebecca Rogers says Ringo can't guard anyone. That's not true. I think that's overblown. I think that's. K. Robinson says, I think y'all trying to talk yourselves into Ringo being good. Nah, me personally, I'm not. I think Ringo, all I'm asking for is give Ringo a shot. I want to find out if he's good. That's the thing. You can't tell me, nobody in this chat personally can convince me that Ringo was bad by playing under 200 snaps in back-to-back seasons. We don't have the sample size to call him bad. Just how before 2024, we didn't have the sample size to call Nakobe bad. Personally, we didn't have the sample size. That's my honest opinion about that. I can't sit here and say he's bad and we barely seen him play. Never got consistent reps. Never got consistent burn. Wasn't able to build momentum. Wasn't able to build confidence. Got drafted into a dumpster fire of a defensive coaching staff. People don't forget Kelee Ringo got drafted into a dumpster fire of a defensive coaching staff. Like, for real. Like, you had Sean Desai, Matt Patricia. Like, what? Like, come on, man. I can't sit here and say Ringo can't play. I ain't seen him play enough. That's all I'm trying to say. He needs reps. He needs reps. And like as Bus said, you got to put him on the field. You got to put him on the field, man. You got to. You know? But overall, though, you guys, before we get out of here, I just want to make my position finally clear. Before we get out of here, I just want to definitively, once again, assert my position. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I understand that Jaire Alexander is somebody that's extremely talented, plays the game the right way, plays the game with swagger. He's physical. He fears no man. He doesn't get penalties, so he's very disciplined. Makes plays on the football. I understand why Jaire Alexander is somebody that Eagles fans are very interested in. I mean, let's be honest about this. We conducted a vote here. 172 of you voted on this. And 53% of you believe the Eagles should sign Jaire Alexander. 47% of you say, nah, they shouldn't. You guys are pretty split on this for good reason. He's talented. Jaire Alexander's talent is not in question whatsoever, but he can't stay healthy. When you're a player who's as talented as he is, but you're only available half of the time, since 2021, Jaire Alexander has only played 34 games out of a possible 68. Jaire Alexander, since 2021, over the past 4 seasons, has played in 34 games, and he's missed 34 games. If we consolidate those numbers, he's missed 2 full regular seasons of football. If we average out those 34 missed games over the course of the past 4 seasons, he's averaging over 8 games missed a season. So if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, how can I bet on that? How can I invest in that? That's just my honest opinion. It has nothing to do with his talent. He's great at what he does. But if I can't trust him to be on the field, if he can't stay healthy, why would I bet on that? Why would I invest in a stock that has a 50% chance of bottoming out? Why would I bet on the stock that's bottomed out 3 out of the last 4 years? Why would I do that? Now, if the Eagles look at Ringo throughout training camp and throughout the preseason and say, you know what, he's not cutting it, Adoree Jackson's not cutting it, and Jaire Alexander is still available, okay, I'll consider it. I'll welcome the move. But I'll only look at it from the perspective of a 1-year deal. That's just my perspective on that. And there you have it. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. You guys are phenomenal. All right? You know, Jaire Alexander, 2-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. He is him. One of the most disciplined corners in football. Has only been penalized, I think, 13 times, 12 times over his 7-year career. Only had 2 penalties in 2024. He gets busy. But if he ain't healthy, I can't see myself making a move for that if I'm the Eagles. Money aside, forget the money, because the money, I don't really care about the money. I trust Howie to make all the right decisions with the money. I don't even think about money with the Eagles no more. I don't. If he can't stay healthy, why would I bet on that? It's just that simple. You guys are phenomenal. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys stay engaged in the comment section and the live chat. Make sure you guys also check out the content on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Check me out on TikTok, and also check me out on Instagram and Twitter, also known as X. You guys have been tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the gang.